Hi, I'm Dave from Sailing Laguna. In our last video we came into the boating capital of the world, Fort Lauderdale. We showed you some of the ins and outs of the anchorage we were at and finished with our anchor chain getting tangled up with another boat. Not such a great experience.
Is it a paddle steamer, Campbell?
Now, I didn't show you last week that on our tender tour we went to downtown Fort Lauderdale on the New River. It was so cool driving through the middle of town in our little boat that we booked a dock in the city for the next day. So we left the Los Olos anchorage and started the journey upriver. Now, as you will see, the New River is quite narrow, and generally speaking, most of the larger 100-foot plus boats will put a call out on Channel 9 to warn people of their impending passage. It is also wise to check AIS of what's ahead. If it wasn't for seeing boats much larger than ours, I would not have thought it was a wise idea to bring a large boat up this river. Maybe it's still not a good idea. Anyway, Sam was at the helm the entire time and did an excellent job of bringing us into the CBD. Sam then spun us around so that we were set up for a quick departure if needed. I got a bit of a fright when I jumped ashore as this little guy welcomed me to the CBD. But then, hang on, he's not so little, is he? We then sat dockside listening to the radio as incoming vessels called for the bridge to open. It was a great location to look at boats if that's the type of thing you're into, and yes, that's the type of thing that I'm into, but you probably are as well if you're watching a sailing vlog. I was pretty impressed until I looked up and saw something that all other vessels will be compared with. It was absolutely huge. It looked like it took up the entire width of the river. I had no idea how it was going to progress any further along, but I was absolutely gobsmacked at the skills of the captain and tugboat operators who skillfully navigated this giant yacht through this tiny, winding river. Well done, guys.
I know, look how big it is. Is it going to make it round the turn? Oh, hey.
We then had a lovely visit from Franklin Myrtle, who was a local model who wanted to do a little bit of a photo shoot with a nautique type of theme. So we welcomed him aboard before we headed out for a lovely dinner by the river and to top it off right next to a bridge. Geez, I'm a tragic, aren't I? Downtown Fort Lauderdale seems like a lovely place. I was also impressed to see a large group of people playing some sort of like kick softball type game. It looked pretty fun.
Oh, it's up. Oh, he's fumbled it. Anyway, the city walk here, the river walk up in Fort Lauderdale, I can highly recommend it. Lovely sort of manicured gardens and vegetation and everything here. Lots of little places because you are so close to the CBD. You can go and have dinner and things like that. Plenty of restaurants to go to up here. But yeah, check it out. The centre of Fort Lauderdale CBD area. Okay, well, our little job for today is to clean some of the cockpit cushions out from out the back. Now, some of the cushions, as you will see, have got this sort of a mould stain through there. So we're going to spray on some mildew stain remover and see how it looks. Alright, well, we've applied one coat and you can still see still there. So let's apply a second coat and let it sit for a while. Alright, let's have a look at it. Yeah, still some dots there. I think this stuff actually did work on some of the cushions, but it obviously doesn't solve all the problems of mould. Hey Samantha, what have you got on there?
I am debuting our Sailing Laguna shirt, even though it's been washed and a little bit faded already.
And is that the, and that's a good logo. What's the go with that logo?
I did the logo myself.
Oh really?
Yes.
Right, okay.
But it looks better when it's not faded.
Yeah. Yep. Samantha's got her full Laguna attire here today, where she has her stylish boat shoes.
New Sperry shoes.
Right. Up there, the full package that she is, of course. With a white shirt, of course, and her little show us your ponytail. Oh, look at that.
Dave's styling.
Yep. See the lovely little ponytail there? Oh, there you're almost hanging on. Yeah. There we go. See? That's
Dave's
it. Oh,
styling.
you need a belt now. You have to get a white belt.
Right, I've got a silver belt.
There we go, silver belt.
Matches
Yeah, silver belt. Let's try that on. That's how it's done. You got a mask?
Yep.
If the last video you were astonished by the number of boats and super yachts in Fort Lauderdale, then this video I need to impress upon you the extravagance of the houses. I don't know what these people do for jobs, but I can tell you that they're not school teachers from Australia. Of course, it's just not the $30 million house, but it's also the $10 million boat parked out the front as well. Maybe they're plumbers from Australia. Oh, maybe I could afford that one. It's probably still no. So the next order of business is to put in some USB charging points. At the moment, I'm down in obviously the bedrooms here, but there's a charging point up here, which of course is nowhere near the bed. Sam likes to wake up in the middle of the night and check, oh well, that's it, to read her Kindle and everything. So there's our USB. Drilled a hole there, 29mm hole, 1 1/8 inches. Poke some wire through. And so the real challenge now is going to be actually getting this wire from here, from this side. We need to get it all the way to the other side of the boat to get to the 12 volts supply, I guess, so that the new USBs that I'm putting in can be on their own circuit. There's our loop. Holes. Cooper, look what we've done to your room. Alright, so there's our 2 holes. That's the wire coming from the other side. It's had to go down behind all of those. That was quite a mission to get that to then come up through here. And I've put that into the bar board. So.
Hi. We're just about to leave.
And we're just waiting for, on the radio there, and on the AIS it said that there was a 75-foot motor yacht coming up the new river.
And we won't be able to pass that.
After a couple of nights downtown, it was time to head off to Harbour Town, where we would be getting hauled out for antifouling. Good to see this busy waterway wasn't scary for the kids, but I don't know who told them their masts were too tall to go under the bridge. We headed across the harbour opening, down the ICW, under the flight path for Fort Lauderdale Airport, and past the cargo terminal to the Darnia Canal, I believe it was. Now, in hindsight, we'd known that the anti-fouling was due to be done since we were in Hilton Head, and we should have tried to organise a haul-out before businesses shut down for Christmas. It would have been nice to book in one of the DIY places in Fort Pierce, but they didn't have anything available for 6 weeks when we called. I guess it pays to plan ahead. We tossed up going to the Catamaran boatyard in Key Largo, but the reviews put us off that one, especially being new at this. In the end, Just Catamarans said they could haul us out on Friday afternoon, pressure wash, sand on Saturday, coats on Sunday, and we'll be back in the water on Monday. Haha. Of course, the old bust out another 1,000 had other ideas about that. They called on Saturday to say the bottom was in worse shape than anticipated. It was going to take a lot longer to sand it. It would then require the 2 coats of primer, as well, of course, as the 2 planned coats of anti-fouling, and of course this would all add up to an extra cost of $3,000, and it should be ready by Tuesday. We went to have a look on Monday, and it still hadn't been sanded. Apparently they had forgot that they have to organise with Harbour Town, who owns the haul-out yard, if they want to work on Sunday, and they didn't. And as the next day passed, it became apparent that we wouldn't be going in, certainly not on Tuesday or Wednesday, but it was going to be looking more like Friday. Of course, the added cost of the boat delay is $250 per night for the hotel room, as well as eating out, and so the extra cost was going to add up to probably more like $4,000. And I guess that's kind of one reason why we don't have a drone for footage, and I'm still using my phone. Anyway, sorry about that. If we know it was going to be a week, then we would have rented an apartment with a kitchen, but you get this on the big jobs, don't you? As we checked out on Friday morning and made our way back to Just Catamarans, we got a phone call saying the boat was back in the water. We also only just found out that they have a loan car, and so we at least got to use that to go reprovisioning, but it would have been nice to have known that at the start of the week. In all, I think Just Catamarans did a good job and tried their best to fit our boat in on pretty short notice. Yes, it cost a few $1,000s extra, but it wasn't their fault about the added difficulty of sanding the bottom paint.
Cooper, what has Mummy just got?
Something bigger than what
There's
I had.
Cooper's ice cream. There's Campbell's ice cream. And oh my goodness, Samantha, what is that?
It's a brownie sundae at Jackson's Ice Cream Parlour.
Holy dolly, look at the size of that thing.
During our time in Fort Lauderdale, we visited a number of shops. Sailorman has a
my
large range of second-hand junk, as well as a few new items like ropes and hoses. Just a couple of blocks up the road was what has to be the largest West Marine in America. Another store that was on steroids was Outdoor World, or Pro Bass Shop, which had a giant water feature inside, and of course something that is totally foreign to most other people in the world, a huge range of guns on display for purchase. Next door is Divers Direct. We also visited a place called Lewis Marine Supplies, which is a cheaper alternative to West Marine and stocked things like sanitary hose. But that's a story for another time. After the first few days off the boat, Sam was going stir crazy. Can't imagine from what. So we moved to a beachside hotel, which unfortunately coincided with some cold weather, and we didn't get to use the beach. Anyway, back to the boat. When we got it back, it was covered in anti-foul dust from the sanding. I can only imagine what the boats downwind look like as well, and they look like new boats. We attached a couple of hoses together and worked into the dark cleaning the boat. We also had someone do a load test on the batteries, and a refrigeration person regas the fridge, because one of the fridges wasn't keeping cold. But look, don't tell Harbour Town that. They're a little bit possessive about this, inverted commas, public dock at the end of the marina. We then spent the weekend down at South Lake near Hollywood Beach. nothing special here to mention, but for those heading to this area, North Lake is shallow and has a lot of more budget-friendly boats. South Harbour, or South Lake, is about it's at least 5 metres deep, so it's good for the larger boats, but it's in an area of the ICW that doesn't have a speed restriction, and so you'll get a lot of boat wakes rolling across that lake. We anchored here for 2 nights, which was actually quite a good spot, but on the weekend it's also an unlimited speed restriction, so you get wakes from boats. We found a public dock to put the stickers on the side of the boat, which had been a long time coming, and it also had a tap as well so that we could wash the sides of the boat and fill up our water tanks, because you can't run your water maker in this dirty water. It was also next to a nature trail for the boys and I to have a little walk around on, which was nice as well. So that brings our time in Fort Lauderdale to an end. With the tangled anchor chain, the extra costs of the antifoul, the uncertainty of the haul out and how long it would take, we actually ended up spending about 3 or so weeks here in Fort Lauderdale, and it certainly did dampen our spirits. We took a big hit there, motivational wise. So next video, let's head south to Miami and prepare to cross the Gulf Stream to the Bahamas. That'll lift our spirits. If you found this video helpful, or you have anything else to add about Fort Lauderdale, please comment below. Anyway, see you next time on Sailing Laguna.